Hello and welcome. This is a historical presentation of the World card by Gnostic Tarot Cards.com. Now, if you're looking at our logo, you may see a couple of different things. We are now representing the Ladder of Lights, which is an astrology zodiacal diagram, and we also have the Kabbalah, which is different as well. This is actually the Gra orientation. And the reason why it's the Gra is because it has its paths pretty much that are set up as mother letters. So you see there's diagonal areas. You can't really see the diagonals right now, but the diagonals are 12. And then you have the connecting lines, which are 7. And then you have your horizontal bars, which are 3. So that is the 3 mother letters, the 7 doubles, and the 12 elementals. But this is a historical presentation of the World card. It's the very first. Hopefully you'll like what you see, and we'll have many more. This research was done with the help of Christine Payne-Towler, Tarot University, and her arc letters. You can go to her site. She is actually my tarot teacher. She's been around for a long time talking about esotericism and the tarot. And a lot of the work that you're going to see today is derived from her outline in the Underground Stream Esoteric Tarot Revealed by Christine Payne-Towler, which were actual rare transcriptions of lectures that she gave to tarot students 25 years ago. So as we anticipate the arrival of her new book, you can go to tarotuniversity.com to read more about Christine Payne-Towler and her work. Okay, so let's go ahead and move along here. Now on this slide, we're going to show a picture of the World card that dates to the 1445. This is the Cary Yale Visconti Tarot, and it centers on a portrait of the Renaissance village. So as we can see right here, we have a Renaissance kind of village with a knight and a horse. Then we have a boat right here and some water. So it's kind of showing how Renaissance life was, not with boats and knights and horses, but its overall view of what exactly it was in the Renaissance that was holding people's kind of panoramic attention. As you can see here, we have the goddess in the firmament above. She is standing there, or kind of emanating over. And also, we have her rising from this crown right here of royalty. Now, in the 1445s, her rising from a crown of royalty is a very interesting perspective, because not a lot of women were held to be royal. So we're showing a divine goddess over the land in a very, this is Italy, so we're showing a very interesting perspective here. Next, you'll see that she has a thin wand in her hand. If you look at the image pretty closely, you'll be able to see that. And she also has an orb of sovereignty, we call it, in the left. So now a lot of these descriptions are from the Stuart Kaplan Encyclopedia of Tarot. And it is important to see that in the World card, we don't really see a wreath. We see a crown. In its earliest development, we see this crown, which is very important when we get to the most modern doctrines and secrets about the World Tarot card. So as you can see here, we have another card. This is from the Charles VI World card in the mid-1440s. So we're dating back to the 14th century, and you see we have a globe under the feet with the mountains and water. This is important because we're showing a lot of the kind of very earthy kind of world that they're talking about. We're going to see a progression that they're showing. It's going to become more and more abstract to a goddess that's pretty much holding the world within her own essence. But you can see here that the goddess is holding a wand in her right hand, and then in her left hand she has a golden ball or a sphere. The next one, it points kind of to a Gnostic inspiration of the worldly Sophia, again above the world itself, above our terrestrial world. It's showing a celestial goddess figure that is above our pretty much known world. And another tarot card, you see we totally went away from the goddess kind of representation. And the Visconti Sforza world card, we have these cherubs, and they're holding up kind of a palace. What's interesting though is that they're holding up a globe with a walled city around it. And the Visconti Sforza does date back to the same time, the 1400s, 1500s. And it's really important that we look at this and see that in this 1450, Visconti Sforza tarot, these male cherubs are holding up the globe with the walled city, and the islands is surrounded by a turbulent sea. Now, this is important to look at because when we get to the castle that is walled, we also know from our studies historically that there are some castles along the border of the Persian, Muslim, Christian times back in the 900s. And these were some of the castles that were used in the Crusades. So it's not too difficult for us to see that part of this castle is showing a parameter of these angels or cherub-like divine beings holding this protective castle in view. If you look above here, you'll see that there's a bunch of stars noting the divinity of this particular city. Now, that could be the city of Troy, but any pretty any kind of city that's held in reverence. It could be the city of God, but it's definitely a place that is being held in reverence of the cherubs and those. In the next place, we have our Erco de Estet tarot of the world, where we have like the other landscape. Again, you see the green kind of ring around the card itself, showing another kind of landscape within the card. The cherub, again, we have sitting above the card with the wings, and it's holding something in its hand. And the golden eagle holds the globe from below. Now, the golden eagle a lot of times represents in esotericism the golden representation of kind of alchemical processes. The philosopher's stone, it can also represent the philosophical gold. So this eagle can also be a totem for the empress and her family. So we're seeing a lot of these ideas in the world card. The next, we have a mythological god or warrior. This is different. Atop the ornate stone wheel in the Minchante Florentine world card. Now, this character is holding a kind of a winged helmet or a crown we see coming back from the original tarot that we were showing in the Cary Yale Visconti. So a lot of these ideas are flinging back and forth, and we're seeing more and more of them pop up. This is one of the first representations of the cherubs that are blowing on the world. And you see right here, it says Europe right there if you look at it, and the 39th card, or 39. I don't necessarily know what that represents, but we show that here. In the right hand, there's a sort of a wand or an arrow, and then in the left hand, we said there was the crown. In the next card, which is the only one I could find on the internet. We have the Etteilla Tarot of the world. And we have like a kind of Hercules or Sisyphean character holding a stone. Now, it's kind of like Atlas. We're seeing this reminds me a lot of Atlas, the myth of Atlas, but it could be Hercules or Sisyphus as well. The next one we have is that of the Tarocco Siciliano of the world, which is in the 1750s. Now we still show the stone that's being lifted, and we also have now a zodiac around the globe. This is one of the first representations of the zodiac itself. And then I just wanted to notice that there was a red beard, so this could potentially be showing a Scottish, kind of Irish. There's not a lot of red-headed Italians, but it's definitely bringing that influence in of the European kind of race. In the Marseille Tarot, we have the most common known, which is the World card, but it's also getting a little bit more complex in the sense that we're showing the Cherubs. She's got 2 wands now. Sophia now has a veil over her, and she's androgynous. She is hiding these parts, but she's androgynous. The oval with reefs and the veil over the androgyny and the Cherubs' corners. So next we have what is the El Gran Tarot Esoterico by Fournier. It's the world card, and we show the sun and moon within the cards. Then we also have a he, Hebrew he, and the sign of Jupiter right here. But we have a lot of the same representations in this card as well, that we're starting to see more of the Cherubs that are right here. And it's leaning more toward an astrology, more toward a zodiacal viewpoint. Next, we have good old Etteilla. Etteilla's world card from the Grand Etteilla. We're seeing a feminine being standing here with, if you look here, you see on the actual signs of the zodiac that are corresponding with these Cherubs in the corner. Now you see that we have the green Ouroboros serpent here. That's very important because as we're looking at this, we can see that Etteilla put a very large amount of information in to what we're looking at. Now, where is there 2 pyramids, mainly at Giza? And then we also have the acacia sprig right here. And then we have the 4 beasts. But it's starting to show a really deep representation of what's happening. Now, this is the Brotherhood of Light card by the CC Zane, the light.org. You can go there. They called this the Adept because once you get here, we have a very Newt kind of character standing under the heavens. But these aren't actually heavens. They're winged lingams and yonis within the wreath. So it's showing the generative nature of the world. It's showing the reproductive basic systems. Now, within this, we're also seeing that we have the 4 element creatures. So we have these creatures that are showing us a little bit of more of a zodiacal point of view from an Egyptian place. And then we also have a woman playing a 3-stringed harp, which Christine Payne-Taller tells us that this represents pretty much like the mind, soul, and body kind of dichotomy that we're seeing. Now, what's important to know is that the Brotherhood of Light also came off of a Fratres Christian. And in that, the Fratres Lucis said, "Remember, child of earth, that world dominion belongs to the realm of light. And the realm of light is the throne reserved by God for the sanctified will. To the Magus, Happiness is the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, but God only allows this fruit to be plucked by the man who is sufficiently master of himself to approach it without coveting it. And a lot of times they called this card the materialist, also with the adept, because a lot of what we're showing here is the material world. We also show in the Nap Hall version the world card, and we have the veil again that's showing up. Now, what I wanted to bring to your attention to is a couple of things. We have the circle with the cross here, which is it could be a few things. It could be the paten that's taken in a liturgical form, or with the cross in the middle of a circle, it represents manifestation in the one. So we have that green Ouroboros snake that we saw, maybe being veiled behind this seal right here. But we have the serpent showing again as a representation of the N2Pan, the all within the many. So next we show that we have the same wreath that we're seeing in everything else, and the female dancing with the red scarf. Typically the red represents manifestation, desire, passion. Now it's very important to realize that this is a lot of what they were showing in the Platonist kind of schools, that by the fall of passion we have this duality, but here in the Nap Hall we're showing that there's actually a unity within the many. So it's very important that we see that as kind of a seal, and Hall wanted these to have, every one of his cards to have a seal on them. Showing, kind of depicting in symbolic form the royal way of each card. Next, we have the zodiacal directions, and we also have the 4 Grail hollows. We have the Grail cup, we have the wand, we have the sword, and we have the pinnacles or coins. So we have those implementations here as well. This is a very easy presentation, 15-20 minutes, but it's showing the kind of overall historical view. You can see here we got Gnostic Tarot Cards on WordPress, but it's showing the overall view of what we're doing here with the Tarot. We're going from all the way back and we're going forward, and we're looking at the synchristic way that the Tarot builds up. So if you want to check us out on YouTube, which you've already seen, you can go to Gnostic Tarot Cards on YouTube. That's our channel. Go to GnosticTarotCards.com for the redesigning of the site. You can also visit us on Facebook, Twitter, Network Blogs, and Blogger. Facebook, Twitter, Network Blogs, and actually it's changed from Blogger to WordPress, but that's probably not that important. Come find out, what kind of new changes we have. I hope that this presentation on Le Monde, the world, has been informative to you about continental tarot and some of the ancient roots that our current manifestations of the world card have. Once again, thanks for stopping by, and hope to hear back from you soon.